see if I can pull these support pieces out without removing all my wood, because I'm lazy. Hi, I'm Matt, and this is Procrastination Garage. Welcome. It's Wednesday, about a week after we started this project. We got the new valve that I needed right there. I'm getting ready to go mow over at the rental and figured we'd go ahead and finish this up. So I've already mowed a couple times since I made the repairs, all as well. But let's get that valve in here. So I couldn't order just that fuel valve separately, or at least if I could, it wasn't for a reasonable price. So this little kit came with two different types of fuel filters, some fuel line clamps, and then a couple of those grommets for the tank. Don't need any of that other stuff, but you know what, we'll toss it in the spare parts bin and who knows. I disconnected the fuel line from this one that I had it hooked up to, hooked it up to the valve. So now we just need to run lines. I'm going to run this one, I think, out and around to here, and then this one out and around to here. That way they won't kink. So let me get them routed and I'll show you. And then remember, we've got it capped off with that little plug right there. Pull that off. And then remember, I'll put this back with my other plugs. So next time I need plugs, I'll have all sizes. All done. Now I'm assuming this one, the one that I was hooked to previously, is the long one, which means that'll drain clear the bottom of the tank. So I've got it here. So that actually means I should turn this valve this way. So if I run out of fuel, I've still got some left. I don't know. I could have pulled those tubes out and checked to see which one was longer, but there's already some dirt and stuff around there and I didn't want to take the time to clean it up. So this whole assembly just kind of floats in here. The hoses kind of hold it in place. I think it'll be okay. We'll keep an eye on it, especially right there. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But again, we'll keep an eye on it. Hate to get a hole in it and kill a bunch more grass. All right, I'm not going to show you me starting it. If you see it loaded on the trailer, then you know it worked. Yep, she fired right up. Okay, that project's done. One of these days we should do an oil change on this thing. It's Monday afternoon around 3 p.m. Got back from our camping trip yesterday. So we're catching up on yard work. You see we're watering the grass and whatnot. Sorry about the sprinkler noise. But the question at hand is, how did our new little shelf work here? I'm going to say it's a B+. It's too tall. I want more room up on top for the tools. So before we pull the motorhome back in the shop, which is what we were working on doing, I'm going to go ahead and pull everything out of here. I'm going to cut 1 inch off all the legs, put it back in, and see what I think of that. So stand by. I've got the first two boards off. And the last one is unscrewed. Just need to pull that one off and then see if I can pull these support pieces out without removing all my wood, because I'm lazy. As you saw, I had to get my little saber saw out and do some more cutting, and it was to get around that little cable right there. There wasn't enough clearance on the right hand side as you're looking at it that way. So I actually had to go back a total of 3 times before I got it big enough to clear it. Anyway, I've got the board in the back, I've got the board in the front. I'll go ahead and put the middle board back in, load my tools up, and show you what it looks like. I am much happier with that. And I now have room to put some more 2x6s still. I can get 5 more 2x6s in there. So that'll be a project maybe before we go camping next time. because that's when we do our projects, is just days before we go camping. All right, tools got to come out and go into the green truck, and then motorhome goes in the shop, and we're pretty much done with it. Like I said, I spent time cleaning it all up earlier, and it's in pretty good shape on the inside. Hey there, just want to take a quick break and ask you to hit the like button or the dislike button, leave me a comment, subscribe, and tell all your friends. Thank you very much. It's Sunday, just afternoon time, and got to take a look at the Venza headlights. So Venza's been on the road quite a bit. Been to California last month, went down to Reno, Nevada here last week, and it was on that trip to Reno. One evening we just eaten dinner, headed back to the hotel, and I'm like, God, these headlights are really dim. Pulled into a parking lot, got out, and there were no headlights, just the running lights down there on the bottom, the fog lights. And I do have high beams, just don't have low beams. So what are the odds that both bulbs are burned out? Or fuses, and if the fuses, why? I don't know. Let's go get a meter and see what we figure out. First thing, that's with the low beams on. Obviously, there are no low beams. And as you can see, the driving lights down below, fog lights, they are lit up. So let's go ahead and turn on the high beam, see what we get. All right, high beams are on. You see the fog lights are off, and both the inner headlights are lit. All right, so we know then that our low beams are the outer bulbs. So now let me go get my meter and see. I don't know how well you can see back in there, but that plug, that's a low beam. Luckily on this car, they're not so hard to get at. Let me pull that out. All right, I don't even need to put a meter on this one. I'm not sure you guys can see it, but the little filament in there is broken. Can you see that? So we know that one's bad. This bulb may be an original. I know I've replaced one of these bulbs. All right, let's check the other one. And an FYI, to get that bulb out, you just need to turn it a quarter turn, not even a quarter turn. It'll only turn one direction, then it pulls straight out. And then the electrical connector pulls off, but there's a little tab there. Not sure you can see it. I pried it up with my little tool right there, and then it popped loose, no problem. Again, I don't know if you can see it, but this element's fried too. So, I mean, what are the odds of both of them going out? You know, they probably didn't go out at the same time. Let's hope, because it should have blown a fuse if they, you know, if there's something really going on. So we're going to hit the parts store and pick up a couple new bulbs. Headed to the auto parts store. Probably going to O'Reilly's first, and probably the only place in that O'Reilly's always has Hot Wheels and stuff to look at, so you never know, might buy more than just the light bulbs. And then once we pick up the light bulbs, actually going to head over to rental number 2, which is empty right now, and it's ready to be rented pretty much. And the only reason I don't have it listed for rent right now is because we're headed out of town. We're going back to California on Wednesday, and if I didn't have it fully rented by Wednesday, I don't want to be trying to deal with that when we're 1,000 miles away. So we can go a few more days without rent. Anyway, the issue over there is I've got fluorescent light bulbs that are not fluorescenting, and I'll explain that when we get there. Made it to O'Reilly's. No, I think I got that tune wrong. Anyway, got the bulbs I needed, no Hot Wheels. Walked over to Helms Hardware, picked up a couple of other LED light bulbs I needed for the rental that I forgot to bring from home. Now let's head over to rental number 2. Made it to rental number 2. So let's go in and see what we can figure out with light bulbs. The first issue is here in the laundry room and half bath. This is no big deal. That fixture there should have 4 bulbs in it. The 2 inner bulbs will burn out. I've got new bulbs right here. We'll put them in, put the cover back on, and this will be done. Okay, those bulbs are not a perfect match, but you know what? I bought 4 new bulbs. We'll go ahead and swap the outer bulbs, and then they'll all match. All right, not quite as bright as the daylight bulbs. These are soft light, but good enough. Here in the kitchen is the real problem. So, backstory. When I first came over here, I realized that these center tube bulbs were out. They were old-time fluorescent bulbs, and I just assumed that the ballast had gone bad. And I noticed in the both outer fixtures, the bulbs have been replaced with direct fit LED bulbs. And I found 2 more LED bulbs out in the garage, direct fit. So my thought was they probably had tried to replace the center tube, but it didn't work because the ballast was out. So I ordered new ballast, I installed it, I grabbed these 2 bulbs out of the garage, put them in there, and they didn't come on right away, but when I fiddled with them a little bit, they came on. What I didn't realize was that when I shut the light switch off and then turned it back on again, they did not come on. So let me show you. Right now they are in, and if I undo one, and it's gonna make a liar out of me now. There, see? All right, so they're both on, but come over here. Oops, wrong switch. Flip the switch. Everything's off. Come back. Flip the switch. And the center 2 do not light again. So after doing a little bit of online sleuthing, what I learned is that these LED direct fits, they don't always play nice with the ballast. Have to have very specific ballast, and maybe the one I got isn't right. So down in my shop, I'm in the process of swapping out the fluorescent bulbs for LEDs, and so I have a bunch of these bulbs that I think are good still. I'm not sure because they kind of bounced around in the car coming over here, so maybe they were good and aren't anymore. So my goal is I'm going to put 2 up there in the center, and let's see if that solves our problem. All right, those are regular fluorescents. As soon as I put them up there, they popped right on. I do notice that one is brighter than the other. Again, I think it's different types of bulbs. Let me go flip the switch off and back on and see what happens. As suspected, flip the switch off, back on. They came on just like they're supposed to. So those bulbs and that ballast is good. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull out these LEDs, both of them, and hopefully replace them with these other 4 fluorescents, because I'd rather have all the bulbs typed the same. At some point, we may need to rewire these fixtures for the new LED bulbs, ones that don't use a ballast. But for now, since I've got these bulbs laying around, let's just go ahead and fix it that way. All right, I've got fluorescent bulbs back in all of them now. Fluorescent bulbs are just more reliable unless you do the direct wire LED. In reading about these bulbs here, they don't have the best track record. In fact, some people complain that they caught fire, and we definitely don't want that happening in the rental. Not sure what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to hold on to them for now. What I need to find out is if these can be used in a direct wire situation, if you do away with the ballast. If that's the case, then they may be worth holding on to. So that's it. We're headed home. So here's a tip from one property manager to another. What I do usually when somebody moves out of a rental, if they've been there a while, I just go ahead and replace all the fixtures. If you live in an area with hard water, you get some really bad stains. And it takes, I mean, you can soak them with vinegar and you can eventually get them clean, but they'll never look that good. And new faucets are just a nice touch when new people rent. And, you know, you just buy the home builder special. I think I paid under $30 a piece. I replaced 3 in the sinks in the bathrooms. And then in the laundry room, there's a special one. I think I paid more for that one. It's a little bit different. I did not do the sink in the kitchen, but I have done that in the past. And then the other thing is toilet seats. Replace your toilet seats. Now, this time I'm not doing toilet seats because they're in really good shape, but usually I do. As far as I'm concerned, this is all money well spent. All right, we've accomplished what we need to accomplish. Headed home. All right, so funny story, not so much. As I said, you know, replace the fixtures. It's just kind of an easy upgrade and not too expensive. This house, I guess I'd never replaced the fixtures before. I just assumed I had last time it was rented, but I guess not. And what I discovered was all the water lines were, I won't say they're original to the house, but they'd been there for quite a while. And instead of being the braided stainless steel ones that I always use, they were the hard metal lines that you got to be real careful when you bend them or they kink. So the 3 bathroom type sinks, those came apart pretty easily. Had no problem replacing those and sourcing the right length at Home Depot. But the one in the laundry room, one of them was badly corroded, and there's just not a lot of room to work up in there. So I ended up cutting the water line off up at the top and then getting a 1/2-inch socket set up underneath there and breaking everything loose. And once I started doing it, it wasn't so bad. I probably only took about 20 minutes getting that one apart, but I thought that one was going to fight me to the end. Now, they've all been replaced with the stainless lines, and they are a whole lot easier to get off, so it won't be a problem next time if there is a next time. So the ones also in that laundry room, they're not a standard length. I needed 32-inch lines, and I couldn't find a 32-inch line. I did find 30-inch lines, but not with the right ends on them at Home Depot. So I ended up using a brass coupler between 2 lines. So there's now 2 lines for the hot water, 2 lines for the hot water. It adds more leak points, but nothing is leaking. They've all got rubber gaskets, so they last for quite a while before anything ever happens. So I'm not too worried about it, but I don't like having extra joints in there. Anyway, that's that little story. All right, back home with the new bulbs. These are H11s. The old ones are H11s. One's an H11C. Don't know what that means. I do know that the electrical connection are the same, and the voltages and watts are all the same. So we're going to call them the same. So I don't know about these bulbs. I know there are some bulbs out here that you do not want to touch the bulb portion with your fingers and get oil on them. It makes hot spots and they burn out quickly. So we've got a paper towel if we need it. I'm going to go ahead and install the bulbs first, and then hooked the electrical back up. When I took them apart, I did the opposite. I pulled the bulbs out with the electrical attached because it was easier to get at the electrical that way. But it's just a matter of pushing the connector back together. So let me go ahead and get the two bulbs in. I'll show you that before I hook up the electrical. I don't know if you can see the bulb back in there. I may have lied. It may be easier to put the connector on and then put them on. And same with the other side over here. Again, don't know if you can see. I don't know. I'll figure it out and let you know what worked. All right, both electricals hooked up. So on the driver's side, I found that it was better to have the bulb in position, but turned so the electrical connector was facing towards the center of the car. Easy access, plugged it in, and then rotated the bulb back. The connector goes down. And on the passenger side, I found it was just easier to put the connector on once the bulb was in place. Well, easier for me. All right, so let's turn on the headlights and see if anything works. Well, so far so good. Both of them are working. But what do we see is that these lenses are really bad shape and need to be wet sanded and coated. Not doing that today, but do need to get another kit to do that. Anyway, this job is done. I'm going to pop the hood closed. Well, actually, we're going to check the oil first. I'm debating whether to change the oil again before this next trip. I just changed it before we went to Reno last week. I think with that trip and the next trip coming back will be probably around 4,000 miles, so that's not so bad. I usually change around every 5,000 miles. So, like I said, I'll go ahead and check it, and if it's not low or anything, I think we'll just call it good. All right, there you go. We've reached the end of another episode of Procrastination Garage. This one's a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but it just seemed like a good stopping point. Not real exciting, just doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Quick trip to Reno. Yeah, you guys didn't get the real flavor of it, but I took some pictures of the car show, thought maybe you'd want, or the car museum, thought you guys would like to see that. So I'm like 2 weeks out from the last video. It wasn't meant to be, just there's so much going on, it's hard to make time to edit these videos. I've got the content. I got other projects going on. Side by side right here is broke, and I don't know why, so that'll be upcoming. There's some other stuff too, so hang around, keep coming back. There'll be more to come here pretty quick. So remember, my name is Matt. This is Procrastination Garage, and we'll see you soon. At least I hope.